This session is intended for grade 11 general students at the Boys School. I'm Emmanuel Regan Paul, the biology teacher in the school. Okay, guys, let's start up. So now we're going to do a revision on endocrine system. Okay, so this is your final review. I want you to turn to page number 39. Boys, please turn your books to page number 39. So page number 39, here we go. So one of the question is going to be on the action of hormones. Action of hormones. Number one, endocrine gland. And number two will be hormone. So let's see what are they. So the endocrine system is composed of glands and functions as a communication system. An endocrine gland produce hormones. So don't forget, the endocrine glands are the structures that produce hormones which are released into the bloodstream and distributed to the body cells. So this you need to keep in mind. Okay, so endocrine glands produce hormones which are released into the bloodstream and distributed to the body cells. Now the question is, what are hormones? So a hormone is a substance that acts on the certain target cells and to produce a specific response. So keep that in mind. A hormone is a substance that acts on target cells to produce specific response. So two things here. One is endocrine glands. Endocrine glands produce hormones. Who carries it? It is carried by the blood. Okay. What are hormones? Hormone is a chemical substance that acts on target organs. Okay, good. Now let's move on. There are two types of hormones. Two types of hormones. The first type of hormones are called steroid hormones, and the second one are called amino acid hormones. There are two types of hormones. The first one is steroid hormone. Steroid hormone. And the second type of hormone is called as amino acid hormone. So these are the two types of hormones. All right. Now let's move on. Let's see some of the questions that we can do from here. So which of the following best describes a hormone? So we know that, okay, it is a substance produced by the endocrine glands. Here it is. See, that's a substance produced by the endocrine gland, and it acts on that acts on specific target cells to produce specific response. So that's hormones. And how are hormones distributed throughout the body to reach their target cells? So hormones are distributed via the bloodstream. So which means the hormones are carried by the blood. It is carried by the blood. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part of it. Next question. Which of the following describes the fundamental role of an endocrine system? What is the role of an endocrine system as a communication network? So does it release electrical impulse? No, not electrical, but it releases chemical. So it releases chemical messenger directly into the bloodstream to act on the target cell. So this is the answer. So the endocrine system releases chemicals which are called as hormones. Okay, don't forget about hormones. So hormones are chemical messengers. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of it. We said that there are two types of hormones. One is the steroid hormone, and the second one is the amino acid hormone. Okay, so this is in page number 39, and this is on page number 40. You can open your textbook to page number 39 and page number 40. So what is important is this one. Okay, let me zoom it for you, and we will study that. Okay, here we go. I think this is clear now. Now let's see the difference between it. See, in the case of steroid hormone, the first thing you should know, there are two steroid hormones, estrogen and testosterone. These are the examples of steroid hormone. See, steroid hormone, you see, this is the plasma membrane, these two layers. So plasma membrane. So what happens to steroid hormone? The steroid hormone can pass through, you see, they can directly come inside. There is nothing which is going to stop them. They can easily pass through the plasma membrane, and the receptor, you can find the receptor inside the cell. This is a cell, so you can find it inside the cell. Okay, they can pass through, and the receptors are found inside the cell. But come back here. Look at this one. The amino acid hormones. Look at this. See, amino acid hormone. Again, there are two amino acid hormone, insulin and the growth hormones. These are the examples of amino acid hormone or non-steroid hormone. And you see here, amino acid hormone, they cannot directly pass through. See, they are not passing through. Instead, they pass through a structure which is called as receptors. So where are the receptors? Here the receptor is inside, but in the amino acid hormone, you can find this receptor found in the plasma membrane. See? So that, which means you think like this, the amino acid hormones cannot directly pass through. They need to pass through a gate. You see, like a gate. If they want to go through, they have to go stick onto the receptor, the hormone receptor, and the hormone receptor will take them in. Okay, clear? So this is called amino acid hormone. So this is the major difference between the steroid hormone and the amino acid hormone. So amino acid hormone cannot pass through the plasma membrane. They can only pass through the hormone receptors, which is located in the plasma membrane. But go back here. See here? But here what happens? The steroid hormone, they can directly pass through, and the receptor is located inside the cell. Okay? This is the main difference. And again, the examples you can study. Steroid hormone, the examples would be estrogen and testosterone. Amino acid hormone, the example is insulin and growth hormone. Okay? So this is, so you get two questions here. Huh? You get two questions from this. No, three questions you're going to get from here. Only from this. So study it, work hard, study for it. Huh? So let's see. How do steroid hormone different from amino acid hormone? So this is the first one is steroid, second one is amino acid. So what is the answer? Look at it, read and see. Steroid hormone bind to the receptor on the plasma membrane. Is the receptor on the plasma membrane for this? No. Steroid hormone enter the cell and bind to the intercellular receptor, which means inside the cell. While this is amino acid hormone, right? Amino acid hormone bind to the membrane receptor. This is the answer. B is the answer. Okay, so the answer for question number 4. Question number 5. Why do amino acid hormone have to bind to the receptor on the plasma membrane? This side, so they're asking why the amino acid hormone, here we go. Why the amino acid hormone cannot pass through directly? Why they should go and bind to the receptor is the question. Why they should? Yes, because they are unable to diffuse through the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is not allowing them to go through. So they need to attach. Okay. So that is the next question. Which hormone type binds to the receptor on the cell membrane? See, cell membrane or plasma membrane. Yeah, it's almost the same. So which hormone binds to the receptor on the plasma membrane? It should be the amino acid hormones. Amino acid hormone as a receptor there. A steroid hormone is a lipid soluble. Where does typically find its receptor? Where do you find the receptors for a steroid hormone? You will find it inside the cell. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The negative feedback mechanism. Okay, this is also one question that you will be getting from here. So page number 40. You can see your textbook. You should have your textbook, page number 40. So when you're studying this, when you see this video, I want you to look at your textbook and then study. It will be easier for you. So you see, explain how feedback can stabilize a system. Feedback mechanism. See, a feedback mechanism maintains a living system's internal condition within the certain limits. You see, they always keep the internal condition. So the keyword here, they will keep the internal conditions within a limit. So they do not allow something to happen drastically, like they don't allow something to increase more, they don't allow something to decrease. Okay, they always control the condition, see, and maintain a steady state. So this is what is we call it as negative feedback mechanism. You can also look for I can tell you another keyword as well. They are useful for reversing. They reverse any drastic changes. What is the meaning? What is the meaning? If the conditions are not okay, they reverse it back. If the conditions are not okay, they will reverse the condition back to normal. Okay, so this is again a keyword. Reverse any conditions, internal conditions, keeping in a limit. So these are all the keywords. Okay, now let's do some of the questions here on it. Let's do, which again I'm telling you, it is not the same question that will be appearing in the exam. You need to study the concept and based on that read, understand and do your exam. Now, which mechanism maintains biological stability? You see, by reversing a change in the environment. I told you reverse. When you see this keyword reverse, you write there's a negative feedback mechanism. Okay, so this is one. Number 9. Which of the following best describes a negative feedback mechanism? Function to maintain homeostasis. Yeah, it reverses a change to bring the system back to the set point. Again, the keyword is there, reverse. Okay, now let's go on to the next question. This question is on page number 42. Please, students, turn your textbook to page number 42. So in 42, you can find this picture they will give you, definitely. This is the picture. You need to learn everything here. Mainly, you need to concentrate on this one. This is the question they will ask. Pituitary gland. So here you see, this is the pituitary gland. I can zoom it. 1 minute. I will zoom it for you. Look carefully because in your exam you can zoom. So you see pituitary gland, this structure here. This is called, see a round structure here. This is called as the pituitary gland. So where is pituitary gland located? First of all, you see here, the pituitary gland is situated at the base of the brain. First learn this. Base. What is base? Below. You see, this is the brain. This is the brain. Below the brain, you can find the presence of pituitary gland. So one, it is located in the base of the brain. Okay, number 2, it is also called as, the pituitary gland is also called master gland. Why they call master gland? Like because it regulates so many body functions. You see, it regulates many body functions. So they are called as master glands. All right. Next one, the pituitary gland secrete hormones that regulates many body functions. I told you. So it regulates many glands like thyroid, adrenal, testes. That means it controls almost everything. Okay. So keep this also in your mind. Okay, so this is one, and then one more thing is that the human growth hormone. The human growth hormone. Okay. Um, See, it helps in the growth by stimulating the cell division in the muscles and the bone tissue. The HCG, it helps in stimulating the cell division in muscle and the bone. So yeah, what are the main things that you need to know? You should know that pituitary gland is found at the base of the brain, number one. Number two, you should know that pituitary gland is called the master gland. Master gland because it controls many body functions. Okay, so this is the main thing here. And don't forget this picture. This picture, concentrate on pituitary gland because they will be asking you which structure secretes hormones and controls body functions. Label the structure. So you should know that it's pituitary gland. It's pituitary gland. Okay, let's move on now. So identify the location of the pituitary gland. So we know that the pituitary gland is located in the base of the brain. Which gland controls the activity of many other endocrine glands? It's the pituitary gland. Okay, pituitary gland. Huh? Let's move on to the next table. Okay, here you go. See, after this, you need to learn all the hormones listed in this in your textbook. Okay, it's in different pages. So what I'm going to do, I have just summarized everything. Learn this. See how many hormones you need to study. Look at it. Let's number it. You need to study 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 hormones. Okay, so 9 hormones, and you need to study mainly its function. Okay, let's start. See, what is the function of thyroxine? Thyroxine. So where is thyroxine? Thyroxine is secreted by the thyroid glands. And the function of this is it increases metabolic rate. Remember this. It increases metabolic rate, regulates growth and development. You need to memorize this. Okay, there is no other go. Thyroxine increases metabolic rate, regulate growth and development. Who produces it? See, thyroxine, thyroid gland. That's easy. Thyroxine produced by thyroid gland. Okay, next. Parathyroid hormone, the PTH. So who produces it? Parathyroid gland. That's easy. Parathyroid gland produces parathyroid hormone. So what is the function of parathyroid hormone? See here, increases calcium level. So let me put an arrow up. This will increase the calcium level. Go to the third one, calcitonin. Calcitonin. What does calcitonin do? It decreases calcium levels. So which means it's going to decrease the calcium level. Which one? Calcitonin. So which increases calcium level? The parathyroid hormone. Memorize them. Okay, guys, memorize it. And which decreases calcium level? Calcitonin. So who releases calcitonin? It's released by the thyroid glands. What is the target organ? So which organ they will act on? See, bones. We know that calcium is found in the bones. So their target organ is bones. You see, one is increasing, the other one is decreasing. That means both of them are working opposite to each other. They are working opposite to each other. Which one? The calcitonin and the parathyroid hormone. They work opposite to each other. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. The next two, let's study together. Okay, see, pancreas. Pancreas. They release insulin and glucagon. See again, insulin, you know, insulin and glucagon. What is the role of insulin? Insulin decreases the blood glucose level or the sugar level. The sugar level, okay, it's brought down by insulin. So a person who's not producing insulin in the body, will be called a diabetic patient. Okay, diabetes, because they have a disease, a condition called diabetes. They are called the sugar patients. So insulin decreases blood glucose level. What about glucagon? Glucagon increases blood glucose level. You see now? What do? They work opposite. What is the target organ? The target organ is liver for both of them. And these two hormones, the insulin and the glucagon, they also work opposite. Memorize it, guys. Okay, don't forget. Liver, the target organ. Liver means you should remember it's insulin and glucagon. Insulin decreases the blood glucose level, and glucagon increases the blood glucose level. Okay. Next, let's go to adrenal gland. You see, adrenal. So there are three hormones here in adrenal gland: aldosterone, cortisol, epinephrine. Okay. Now, aldosterone, it regulates sodium and potassium balance. This is aldosterone. Cortisol, it reduces inflammation. Then epinephrine, this is easy. This is also called as adrenaline. You know this, adrenaline or epinephrine. It is released during fight or flight response. So what will it do? It will increase your heart rate, blood pressure, and blood glucose. So epinephrine released during fight, when you want to fight or when you run away, from a situation, the adrenaline will be very active, okay, will be secreted. So these are the three hormones for it. So remember, aldosterone, sodium and potassium balance. Cortisol, it reduces inflammation. Epinephrine, the fight or flight response. And the last hormone is ADH, which is called the anti-diuretic hormone. It is released by the kidney. Remember this, water. It controls the concentration of water in the blood. That's all. It regulates water balance. So if anything to do with water balance or controlling the concentration of water, you must write ADH. This is important. Huh? You will definitely get a question in this ADH. ADH, concentration of water. Remember this one. Insulin. Okay, insulin also is important. Yeah, this one. See, insulin. Very important. Insulin and glucagon, important. And very important is calcitonin. Calcitonin decreases the blood calcium level and also parathyroid. These are the important hormones that you need to concentrate more on. Okay, now let's see some of the questions here. Almost the whole chapter is on this. You see here, look at this one. See, they give you this picture. They give this picture and they will say, you see, look here. They will keep a box empty. We don't know which box. They will remove one box empty and they will ask you what is happening. Mostly here, you see. See, look at this. Parathyroid hormone. Okay, there is an arrow going. So parathyroid hormone releases PTH. Parathyroid hormone. So what will the parathyroid hormone do? We know that the parathyroid hormone increases the calcium. See, the calcium moved from the bone to the blood. Higher calcium blood level, the calcium is very high now. Okay, very high. So remember here. Now, calcitonin. What does the calcitonin do? The calcitonin lowers the calcium level and brings back to. So you should be concentrating here, releasing more PTH, releasing more calcitonin. So release, if calcitonin is released, the calcium is brought down. You see, lowers calcium. If PTH is released, the calcium will become high. See this one, the calcium becomes high. So this picture, you need to concentrate. Concentrate on this picture because it's important. You will get this picture. See, parathyroid hormone and calcitonin regulate the level of calcium in the blood. So this is what is called negative feedback mechanism. Don't forget. Okay. And then look at this. This is another one. You see, this is pancreas. pancreas. What happens? When the blood glucose level is high, see, high, so insulin is secreted. What will happen? Insulin converts. What will the insulin do? The insulin, it converts the glycogen from the glucose. Okay, the glycogen forms from glucose. That means it will convert the glucose. Let's keep it simple. It converts the glucose to glycogen. It converts glucose to glycogen, and the blood glucose level will decrease. You see, this is what happens here. When the blood glucose level is high, insulin is secreted by the pancreas. The glucose is converted to glycogen, and the blood glucose level decreases. So what happens when the blood glucose level increases? There is very high glucose level. Maybe you ate a chocolate, okay, something like that with more sugar, or a cake you ate. So the blood sugar level is very high. So at that time, so what will happen? Okay, that's over here. Okay, here when you're taking chocolate, it's here. The blood glucose level will be high. Okay, so the insulin is secreted and the glucose is converted to glycogen. Let me erase this off. Now what happens on this side? Okay, let's see here. Now here, let's start from here. Now, if the blood glucose level is low, here we go. From this side, we have to start. If the blood glucose level is low, maybe you are fasting. Okay, when you are fasting, what will happen? The glucose level is low. So the glucagon is secreted by the pancreas. What will the glucagon do? The glucagon will convert glycogen to glucose. See, the glucagon will convert glycogen to glucose, and the blood glucose level comes back to same. So this is what is happening here. So there are two things here. Insulin converts glucose to glycogen. So remember this, insulin converts glucose to glycogen, and glucagon converts glycogen to glucose. This is the main reason. Okay. And then one more here. See, this is kidney. So kidney. So you should remember about ADH. So these three pictures, just concentrate more and let's do some questions on these. So which hormone decreases the blood calcium level? Which hormone decreases blood calcium level? So it should be calcitonin. Where is thyroxine produced? By the thyroid gland. Which hormone increases the blood glucose level? See, increases the blood glucose level. So which hormone increases? It is increased by the glucagon. Which hormone is responsible? So remember here, which hormone? See, insulin decreases. Glucagon increases. Don't forget. Which hormone is for fight and fight response? Epinephrine or adrenaline? What is the target organ for insulin? The target organ is liver, muscle, and adipose tissue. Which gland produces parathyroid hormone? Parathyroid gland. What does aldosterone regulate? The sodium and the potassium balance. What is the target organ for calcitonin? Calcium. So bones. Calcium, therefore it will be bones. Where is epinephrine produced? Epinephrine. So where it is produced? Okay, go back and see. You can see from the table here. I forgot to tell you. See, epinephrine is produced by the adrenal medulla. Okay, adrenal in that medulla. So here, when you come here, just come back here. See, epinephrine is produced by the adrenal medulla. What is the effect of epinephrine on the body? Epinephrine. You see, many questions are there on epinephrine. So this is important. It increases heart rate and blood pressure. What is the effect of ADH deficiency? ADH, I told ADH means water. So look for it. Excessive water loss in the urine. Which hormone pituitary to tell kidney to reabsorb water? I told you water means ADH. Water, it means ADH. Which hormone is released by the pancreas? Pancreas. So pancreas releases two hormones. One is insulin and the second one is glucagon. So here you have only insulin, so right, that's the answer. See, the graph below shows the blood glucose level over a period of time. Which hormone might have caused a sudden increase? See here, this is blood glucose level. At this point, the blood glucose level increased suddenly. See, increase. So what is the hormone here? So which hormone helps in increase? Okay, so which hormone might have caused a sudden increase? So it is the glucagon. Glucagon. If they ask you this point, see, there is a decrease. So at this point, it will be insulin. But here it will be glucagon. This point, it is glucagon. And here it is insulin. Don't forget, two types of questions will be there. Because insulin decreases glucose and glucagon increases the glucose. Okay, let's go the 26. Which of the following glands secrete hormone? Hormones that regulate many body functions and located in the base of the brain. So which secretes hormones? Which secrete hormones that regulate many body function? So it is the pituitary gland located at the base of the brain. Which of the following hormones have opposite effects? Opposite effects. Calcitonin and parathyroid. Because calcitonin decreases calcium level and parathyroid increases calcium level. 28. Which person is likely to have high levels of adrenaline or epinephrine? A person who is asleep? Person who is relaxing? No, a person who is frightened because he is in fear. When you are in fear, adrenaline will be secreted. Which letter refers to the gland that secretes hormone thyroxine? Thyroxine is released by thyroid gland. So the answer is D. It is released by the thyroid gland. What happens when the body is in acid-base equilibrium? So when it is an acid base, when the acid and the base are equal, then the pH is maintained. The pH is maintained. Okay, so that is the end of the revision here. But remember, one thing I need to tell you. See, I gave you key points. Okay, I want you to read these key points very carefully. These key points will have everything that you need to study. You see here? We have discussed in the previous, video on digestive system. So all the key points are there. And this is for the endocrine system. You see, endocrine glands produce hormones. What is hormone? Hormone is a substance that acts on target clock. See, all the ones I highlighted here in dark, the black, see dark black color. These are all the key words that you should remember. What is a steroid hormone? A steroid hormone passes through the cell membrane and they bind to the receptor inside the cell. Amino acid pass through and they bind to the receptor on the plasma membrane. You see, this is the question. This is a picture that you will get. So this is an amino acid hormone. So likewise, you have keywords for everything. You see, base of the brain. Here is the base of the brain, pituitary gland. So I learned the location of the pituitary gland. I wrote here. And then the hormones. What you have to study, the hormones and its function. All this you need to study. Okay, don't forget, study this and you can succeed. Okay, work hard and get good marks. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Take care.